Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Justina and here I like to make, create, and inspire fun art things with you through my DIYs. Now as you see by the title, I have another gingerbread DIY video for you. The first one did so good and a lot of people have told me that they are decorating with gingerbread this year, so I wanted to give you another option and more DIYs that you can hopefully try. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it and let's art today. For my first DIY, I want to make a little gingerbread sign using this pumpkin harvest. I think it's supposed to be a cutting board or maybe a paddle board. I don't know what you call it, but I am going to make it over into a little gingerbread sign. I first want to give it a nice thick coat using my folk art home decor chalk paint in the color Imperial. Once that was completely dry, I am now taking some puffy paint that I purchased from Dollar Tree and I will go all around the edges in this little swivel motion to mimic icing that you would put onto a gingerbread. Now you can do this with a paint marker or even just a paint and paintbrush, but I opted out for puffy paint because it's easier to handle and much quicker to put on. To make my sign into a gingerbread sign, I will be using this foam gingerbread man that I purchased from Dollar Tree. I believe 12 sheets of this foam come in a pack and I thought that was a great deal. So as you see, once again I'm taking some puffy paint and adding little squiggles onto the gingerbread to mimic frosting that you would do on a cookie, and I just think it comes out so adorable. Now at first I did his arms and his legs, and then when I was looking up pictures of gingerbread cookies, they always have this thin outline of the gingerbread, and I really think this steps it up into it looking like a real gingerbread cookie. I then started painting on the face. Now for my sign, it's going to be a little humorous, so I wanted my gingerbread cookie to look surprised. I used the puffy paint to draw on the mouth. It opened wide like that, and now I'm just taking some black acrylic paint and painting on some black eyes. Now I just want to attach my gingerbread man to the sign, and to do so all I am using is my hot glue gun. I suggest you use a very low setting because it does burn some of that foam, but nonetheless I got it done. Now I didn't realize I had 2 sheets of gingerbread foam on there. I noticed it later, but it still works out. Next I wanted to make a little sign for my gingerbread man, so I'm just using sticker letters that I purchased from Walmart. Now if you have a Cricut, this will be a best time to use a Cricut. I do not, so I always use what I have on hand, and I really don't like my handwriting, so I always opt out and use some sticker letters. Now here is the funny part. I always think about this movie when I think about gingerbreads. For some reason it always pops into my head. So after I have the saying down, which says not the gumdrop buttons, I am trying to stick them on, but I noticed that they weren't sticking that great, so I am going to use some Mod Podge to stick it on all the way. Now as you see here, I didn't have enough T's, so I'm just using the outline of the sticker of the T and making a T with just using a Sharpie marker. Here I am using some Mod Podge to adhere all of the stickers down to my sign so that they can stay where I like it. The last things I wanted to add was a little embellishments here and there. I have some greenery that I will hot glue at the top right by the handle, and then I made a shoelace bow using some ribbon that I purchased from Dollar Tree. I will hot glue that into place and then cut off any excess that I don't want there. I'm just adding some more hot glue to the bow so that it stays where I want it. And lastly, for his gumdrop buttons, I'm just using some foam balls that I purchased from Dollar Tree. I hot glue one of them to his body and 2 off to the side, and that completes this DIY. This is how my little gingerbread design turned out, and I absolutely love it. I would love to know if anybody knows what movie reference I am referring to down in the comment section below. I think it's hilarious. Every time I think about gingerbread men, that movie pops into my head. Let me know down in the comment section. You can't have gingerbread DIYs without making a gingerbread house. Now, for my DIY today, I have a bunch of trash that I want to turn into a gingerbread house. I had purchased a bookshelf, and all of these cardboard pieces were inside of the box, and I kept them because I wanted to make something out of it, and that's what I'm doing today. So I am measuring out my gingerbread house. Now, roughly my gingerbread house will be a 6x6 frame. That is what you see me measuring out here. I'm taking 6 inches from the bottom and marking it out, and that will technically be the measurement of the house. Then from the marking all the way up to the outer edge, I'm making a cross so that I can see where the peak of the house will be. Now I do that with both pieces of that cardboard that you see here, and now I'm just taking an X-Acto knife and cutting out the house shape. Be careful if you are recreating this and are using sharp objects. I want you to craft at your own risk, but make sure you do it safely. I continue scoring the cardboard boxes until both ends of the houses pop out, and then I can move on to the next pieces of the house. Once again, I am measuring out where the sides of my houses will be. So I first used the cardboard house to give me my measurement, and then I went back in with a ruler to make sure that I had the right size. Now, once again, I'm doing 6x6. So I have 6x6 square pieces, and then I will cut that out too. Now that I have all of my pieces cut out so far, I want to attach everything together. So I was trying to find out what was the flattest pieces to be on the bottom and on the top. And after I figured that out, I'm just using some hot glue to attach all of the pieces of the houses together. Now I reinforced them on the inner edges using more hot glue, and I am using my Gorilla hot glue stick. It really does work wonders, and it sticks really well. I highly recommend it. Not sponsored by any means though. Now that I have the main part of my house glued together, I needed to take some more of that cardboard and place it on top so that I can cut out my roofing. Now I needed to get the main part so that I know how much I want the roof to overhang on both sides. I used that piece to cut out 2 pieces for my roof. Once again, I'm using my hot glue to attach everything together. Once the roof had time to dry, the last piece I wanted to put on was one of these little rectangle pieces in the same cardboard boxing that I got because it reminded me of a door, and that's what I'm using it for. After everything was nice and adhered together, this is how my gingerbread house looks so far. I'm super excited because it looks so adorable. Now, part of my roof was a little bit smashed, but I don't worry about it too much because I do cover it later. And it doesn't ruin the integrity of the house. Everything still works the same. Now it's time for my favorite part, which is actually the decorating part. I looked up a bunch of different images on Google on how you should decorate a gingerbread house, and the possibilities are pretty much endless. You can decorate it however you please. I just wanted to kind of mimic more of a traditional gingerbread house, which is going in with some of this puffy paint and making little shingles on top of the roof. Now I use a lot of puffy paint in this DIY, but you can always opt out and use some acrylic paints or maybe even some of Dollar Tree's spackling. It is really up to you. Like I mentioned before, you decorate your gingerbread house however you like. I'm just trying to give you some ideas, and this is how I did it. Now, as you saw before, I did add some glitter on top of my gingerbread house. I wanted to add it while the puffy paint was still wet so the glitter can adhere to it. I just love glitter around Christmas time. It just reminds me of all the ornaments and all of the good things that Christmas has. Even in the stores, they put glitter on everything. If you don't want glitter, you do not not have to put glitter on. Now, as you see here, I'm making these S-like shapes on the outer edges of the gingerbread house, but those will actually get covered up here pretty shortly. So that's why I'm adding more of these squiggles closer to the door and more different shapes all around the house. I wanted to add these Dollar Tree ornaments. These are Dollar Tree's tree ornaments that they carry pretty much every year. I have seen these for quite some time, but I thought they would be perfect for the front of my gingerbread house. I'm just attaching them using my hot glue gun. Now it's time for my favorite part, which is adding the icing all over. I like to use this Fast and Final lightweight spackling. I always put it into a piping bag so that it is really easy to handle and to apply it to any project that you are using. I do have a piping tip in there. I do not know the name of the piping tip. I am very sorry about that, but I do know that I purchased it from Walmart and it's just a cupcake piping tip. As you see here, I'm adding the icing all over the outer edges to cover up that gaping hole that these cardboard boxes come with, and then I'm adding it around the door and on the bottom of the trees. Lastly, I'm adding a doorknob by using a push pin that I painted red, and then adding some more gumdrops into the icing on top, and my gumdrops are these foam balls that I purchased from Dollar Tree. I just continue decorating the gingerbread house as much as possible, trying to mimic the ones that I saw online as best as possible as I can, and I just really had fun with it. Remember, you can make your gingerbread house however you like it. There are no rules, you just have fun. Now, while I am decorating, and if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you when I upload a new video, and I would love for you to be part of my virtual art family. The last little bit that I wanted to decorate the house with are using Dollar Tree's new 2-pack window clings. These were so awesome. You get these puffy ones in the back, and then in the front there are original window clings, very thin, and they cling to mostly anything. I'm attaching these gingerbread men on the side of the houses. I did add a little bit of hot glue to the back of it also, just to make sure that everything adheres to the gingerbread. I will add some of those little peppermints to the side as well, once again using some hot glue to make sure that it attaches to the side. Now for the back of the house, I'm using some of these trees. I did add a piece of mistletoe, I guess, or a greenery with the berries on the top, but you cannot see that here. And I just added 2 of those trees, some candy canes in the center, and some more of the peppermints, and that completes this DIY. I really love this DIY, not only because it is a super adorable, but that I can use it for years on end and do not have to throw it away because of bugs or any little creatures. I just love it. Moving right into our next DIY, I actually got inspiration from a Michael's dish rag, and I wanted to make it into a sign, so I will be using this Dollar Tree clipboard. I will remove the sticky tag off of it, sand it down just a little, and then I want to give it another coat of this folk art home decor chalk paint in the color Imperial. I really love this red. It does remind me of Christmas, and I give it a nice thick coat and wait for it to completely dry. After that was completely dry, it is now time to make the sign. I needed another gingerbread man, and I'm using the same gingerbread foam that I purchased from Dollar Tree. Like I said, I believe 12 come in a pack, so it is a great price at $1.25. I do attach him down using my hot glue gun. Next, I take some more of that white puffy paint and I outline my gingerbread. I really love doing this. It looks like a real gingerbread cookie and it just gives it a little extra something. Next, I'm adding the little squiggles that you add onto gingerbreads from their feet and on their hands, and I believe those are supposed to be like the outer edges of little gloves and socks, but I'm not sure. Next, I'm taking a black Sharpie marker and I'm drawing on the eyes and the smile, as you see here. I just thought a Sharpie marker was easier to handle, plus I do not have black puffy paint. I really need to get some. I'm taking a Posca paint marker in the color pink, make him some cheeks, some nose, and then I add the highlights to the eyes. Now for this gingerbread, he does get his gumdrop buttons, and I'm just using some more of those foam balls and I'm hot gluing it right down his stomach. Now it's time to add a sign to my sign. Like I mentioned before, I really do not like my handwriting. However, I wanted this to be a little different, so I am using my Posca paint marker to write on gingerbread man, and then I thicken the lines again by going over it a second time and adding a little flare at some of the edges of the letters. So the washcloth that I saw at Michael's that I got my inspiration from, the picture had all the little sayings that are on a gumdrop. So like the frosting, the gumdrops, the little gingerbread, they had all of those words on there, and then they had a line pointing to where all of those things go. So I'm just adding some puffy paint and attaching it right to the word that it goes to, as you see here. I hope that wasn't too confusing. Next, I wanted to add more embellishments to it, so I found this little bow and this greenery that had some berries on it, and I'm hot gluing it right on the top of my sign. Next, I thought my sign was a little plain, so I'm taking more of those window clings that I used earlier and attaching it using some Gorilla stick glue and placing it all around my sign. Then I will take a white Posca paint marker and start outlining the outer edges of my sign just to give it some more character and some details. And lastly, I will then take a black Posca paint marker and just write out Mrs. Claus on the top because I felt like it was missing something, and I thought this would be really cute to make it Mrs. Claus Gingerbread Man. This is how the sign turned out, and I absolutely love it. I do love these little clipboards to make signs because they do come with a little hook that you can hang it on a wall. I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. So I know finding and making gingerbread things can be tough, but I suggest going to your local thrift store. You can always find something. I found this gingerbread cookie plate at mine. It was 99 cents, and on that day it was even half off of that price, so it was a steal. All I had to do was take it home and wash it up, and I have a brand new plate to go with my gingerbread decor. But to add on to the plate, I wanted to make my own gingerbread cookies. So I found this air dry clay at Dollar Tree, which is nothing new, but it is new to me. I never used this stuff before and I wanted to give it a try. So to do so, I will also use these cookie cutters that I purchased from Walmart. They were only $2.44, which isn't that bad, and you get 2 of the cookie cutters. As you see, I did take a piece of the clay, roll it into a ball, and since I could not find my rolling pin, I just used a cup to roll out the dough to get the thickness that I'm going for. Now this clay is really easy to use, and If you had any bumps or irregular shapes onto your cookies, you can always smudge it out with using your finger, and it says if it starts to dry out, you can always use some water, which I didn't have to do because I worked pretty quickly. Now this made 4 of these little gingerbread cookies and 3 of the big ones with just 1 pack of that clay. So like I said, I will continue rolling out this clay and making as much cookies as I possibly can, which are 3 of the larger ones and 4 of the smaller ones. Now it does say leave these out for a couple hours till they dry completely, so that is what I did before starting to decorate them. Now to decorate them, I'm just using some red and white puffy paint, once again decorating them with little noses, buttons, and some smiley faces with some frosting on the outer edges, and that completes this DIY. Now, of course, once everything had time to completely dry, I had to put it on my gingerbread plate that I purchased at my local thrift store. Now, I highly recommend this clay. It did not give me any trouble, and my kids got to play with some too, and they absolutely love it. So if you have little ones, I highly recommend it. Well, that is it for today's DIYs. Once again, here is a quick overview of everything that I have created today. I thank you so much for joining me and helping me create some of these awesome DIYs. I really had a blast making them, and I really hope that you enjoyed today. If you did enjoy today's DIYs, don't forget to hit that big thumbs up button. It really does help out this channel. Also, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below, and make sure to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you when I upload a new video. And I would love for you to be part of my virtual art family. If you would like to help support this channel so that it can grow even further, I would love for you to check out my Buy Me a Coffee page. It will be linked down in the description box below, along with my other socials. I would love for you to pop over there and say hi. I love to get to know each and every one of you. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.